Hey, Jared. I got a question for you over there on the other side of the glass.
I probably have an answer.
When you were at 4-H, when you were a little 4-H shooting sports kid, remember that?
Yeah.
All right. And,
how young?
And the 4-H, they came up with a little acronym to teach like 10, 11-year-olds to remember firearm safety. Not the universal safety rules, but 4-H safety rules. And it was MATE.
Yeah. Muzzle, action, trigger, ear, and eye.
And okay, what is that? Muzzle in a safe direction.
In a safe direction.
Action open until you're ready to shoot.
Finger off your trigger until you're ready to shoot. And eye and ear protection.
Wear eye and ear protection.
Yeah.
So we can teach 9, 10, 11-year-old kids that when you're going to engage in shooting activities that you should wear eye and ear protection. Is that correct?
Yes.
And we've taught literally thousands over the last, 15 years or so. I guess it would easily be in the thousands. You figure a couple of hundred a year, times 15 years. So that's over 1,000, a couple thousand, whatever. We can teach kids that, but apparently we can't teach Mongo that. If I see one more super ninja tactical firearms instructor with a padded duty rig tactical belt and all this on a range teaching somebody without eye protection on it, I'm going to lose my crap.
Well, I don't know when the video was made, but Matt Best did a video on how to be tactical, and one of our grad program members put it in the Facebook group.
I'm not talking about Best. I'm talking about
No, I know, but he made a video making fun of all these. He's just poking fun at all the major YouTube people, and it was pretty funny. It was actually a really funny video.
But the reason that I thought of that is because we're sharing all this stuff about yesterday's radio show is being shared on everything, Gun District, Facebook, Twitter, you name it. And one of our mutual friends posted this video that they went to training this weekend, and here's a video of me training. And so it's a chick, but she's walking, and the instructor, the super cool ninja instructor who's walking next to her, he's got Ear Pro on, and he's got a super cool tactical, ninja belt, instructor belt on, and he's got no eye protection on his face. And you say, "Oh, come on, Paul, you're just splitting hairs, or you're splitting atoms and so forth." Folks, that's basic stuff. That's super, super basic. And there's no reason not to. There's no reason to be, especially if you're going to, videotape. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it you should only do it because the camera's on. But come on, this is simple stuff.
What you do every day is what you're going to do when the camera is on, usually.
Yeah. Was it because glasses don't look cool? Safety glasses don't look ninja or whatever?
I don't know. Well, I always wear glasses of some sort.
I've been around enough shooters to know that they're like, "Oh, I'm not worried," or blah, blah, or "We're not shooting steel, so I don't need them." Dude, I've had people injured on the range, get crap in their eyes. I told you the lube story, right?
Yeah.
The COP story?
Yeah.
Did we tell the audience the COP story?
I'm not sure if we told them or not, but you can go ahead and retell it because I'm sure we've got new listeners.
Okay. Firearms instructor on the range with a bunch of military kids, and we make them wear eye and ear protection, obviously. They're up there, and first string of fire, this kid, and when I say kid, I'm not talking about kid, I'm talking like 18, 19, 20 years old. First string of fire, pow, 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 oh, hands in the air, which means, come help me, coach. So we go running over there like, what's up? And he's like, I got something in my eye, And we're like, all right, holster your weapon, go see the corpsman, whatever. So we're trying to figure out, like, what the heck has this guy got in his eye? I mean, he's got wraparound eye protection on, so obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but we're like, man, did a piece of, debris sneak up under his glasses? That's kind of crazy. I talked to the corpsman afterwards, and he's like, yeah, I flushed his eyes out. And I talked to his coach because I was running the line at the time. I flushed his eyes out, and it turned out it was CLP. This kid had been told by someone that there was no such thing as too much lubrication on his gun. So he actually took one of those squirty squirt bottles before he went to the range and just doused the gun so that it was literally dripping with CLP. And when he fired it, a cloud of CLP enveloped his head and it got on his eyes. But I've also, and people say, well, I have good guns and I'm not worried about stuff. It's not necessarily you. I've been on the range when other people's guns ruptured. I've been on military ranges, I've been on civilian ranges, what have you, police ranges, where other people's guns had problems and pieces, parts, and fragments from other people are the ones that are hitting you, not your bullets. So, folks, come on. That's super simple. Fix yourself. That's ridiculous. But whatever. All right, moving on. I didn't even mean to take that hard left turn, but I saw it.
I got like involved in what you were saying, and I haven't even looked at the notes yet.
Yeah, here's the show notes. It's Wednesday, and because it is Wednesday, that means we have our SWAT Fuel Fitness Talk update today. We want to thank our friends at Century Arms, Crossbreed Holsters, and remind you that we have the Inland, INLAND, Inland Manufacturing 30 carbine giveaway coming up. It's going to be the very beginning of October.
We're giving away 30 carbines?
No, a 30 carbine, a 30 caliber carbine.
Oh, okay. I was excited.
The audience understands, yeah. You have the fitness talk ready to go?
Uh-huh.
Okay, go ahead and give us the fitness talk, Crazy.
Original cute body make a man mad. Woman physically fit, physically fit, physically fit. Woman physically fit, physically fit. Woman nice, sweet, fantastic. Big body ocean at the big tight and woman nice, sweet, energetic. Big body ocean at the big tight and woman nice, sweet, fantastic.
I actually watched the video a little bit this time, and I forgot about that little green thing that's on the ground, writing with his tongue on the receipt or on the paper or whatever it was. Remember that?
No.
I was weird. I looked at it, I was like, what is that?
I haven't seen that video in years.
Yeah. But anyway, today's fitness talk is about excuses, and it's going to be short and sweet. Excuses are for bitches. Don't be a bitch.
Really?
Yep.
I don't think you can say that on
Yes,
the
I
radio.
can.
You can? Did
Yep.
you already check?
You can say it on TV, you can say it on the radio.
Okay. Yeah.
That's it. I mean, that's really, don't make excuses. If you're going to make an excuse for something, then you should reach down and find your collective testicles and not make the excuse and go do what you need to do.
There's reasons and there's excuses.
Yeah.
And don't confuse the two.
Yeah.
There you go.
Majority of the people make excuses. They don't
It's-
have reasons.
You know you're in trouble when people How many times have you been somewhere at a physical activity and people arrive and they start preloading excuses?
Not every day.
They preload them. They're like, well, I've been blah 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 lately, or blah blah blah, or blah. It's like, dude, just do it. Let's just get in here and do what we need to do. And remember what Brother Jay said about the dude who like changed guns over lunch?
He's still getting used. He's still transitioning.
Yeah, I'm still in the process of transitioning to this gun. That's why I can't hit the target. And it's like,
What video series have you been watching?
I do what? Still in the process of transitioning. Okay, whatever. Whatever makes you happy. I don't care. We're not here to judge. When it comes to SWAT fuel and moving it, remember, kids, SWAT fuel is not a magic pill that you can take, sit on the couch, and play video games. I mean, I guess you could. You're an American. You do whatever you want. But if you actually want to derive some benefit out of it, you need to move your body. You need to actually move it, get up and move it. It's like we've had people say, I took that and it didn't help me. Like, well, what did you do? What did you do? Well, I didn't do anything. Oh, so
well, you're supposed to take the pill and it's supposed to melt the fat off of you.
Yeah, you're supposed to take it
and
then go sit in the chair and watch television, and the fat will just melt away into the easy chair. When you go to SWAT Fuel, though, you go to SWATfuel.com and you check out their online store. Make sure you use the promo code, and just in case you're new or haven't been paying attention, it's SOTG2015, and you're going to save yourself 10% off your total order. We've got some stuff to talk about today, some serious stuff. Obviously, things are serious in the world, but we understand. Jared and I had a conversation last night about this. We got an email from a listener. It was a female listener who was very concerned about a domestic violence encounter or domestic violence threat. A former boyfriend kind of person who's now a career criminal, but amazingly enough is not in jail. You know, the whole civil protection order or temporary protection order or all that kind of stuff.
You have to let them back into public just to see if they'll interact.
Well, yeah, you gotta
like
monitor them to see how they interact with other people, see if they kill them or not.
So yeah, if they cut somebody's head off,
and you're like, oh,
then they need to go back to jail.
Yeah, they cut someone's. Yeah. The bottom line is, it's and people say, and I when I was a cop, I got this all the time. Like, what should I do? What should I do? They call you, and you say, well, this is what you should do. They don't want to do that. They just want to call you. Now, for those of you who are listening who are relatively new, who are somehow missed the use of force deal, I don't know how you did that, but we have a really fantastic series or a video called Armed Living, Concealed Carry in an Uncertain World. Jared made it available for direct download, and the reason we did that was because I can't spend 45 minutes every show repeating all of those things. But here's what I'm going to tell you. The person that's responsible for your own safety is you, number one, not the police, not anyone else. And you know, the courts have found that the police are not legally responsible for your individual safety. So it is up to you. Number one, take steps. Number two, you say, well, I have no experience with guns. Get some. Go get some training. Take the training. Oh, I got my concealed carry permit. Okay. Concealed carry permit classes are not training. They're just information that you have to have so you can pass the test, so you can get the permission slip from the government. Training is training. Training is going under the watchful eye of an experienced instructor so that they can help you to grow in your skill level. And once you've done that, you need to, and you should understand the difference between lethal force and non-lethal force, or less than lethal force, or what have you, deadly force. If you have a deadly force encounter, if someone is threatening your life, not threatening to, bruise your ego or break your nose or punch you in the stomach or something, but someone who's actually threatening your life, we use deadly force tools to respond to that. And where we, as the good guys, the reasonable people, the great polite society that we are, what happens is we want to seem like we're super reasonable. So we try and use these half measures. People try and use wasp spray and baseball bats to stop felons from breaking into their houses. If someone's smashing into the door to your home while you're there, that's not a wasp spray or baseball bat scenario. That is a firearm. That is a deadly force scenario. They are threatening you with deadly force. They're threatening your family with deadly force. Well, what do you mean? Well, unless you live in some place like England or Massachusetts maybe, if someone feloniously breaks into your home, they are threatening you and your family, and you have the right to respond with deadly force. If you're in fear for your life from a domestic violence situation where you are afraid that a former, a boyfriend, girlfriend, what have you, has gone schizo and they're going to find you and hurt you, that's a deadly force scenario. Now, people will, and the reason people do this is because they're afraid to commit, because carrying a gun and having a gun in your hand is a pretty strong commitment. It is a commitment that I'm either going to live and possibly take this other person's life, or I may. People don't want to make that decision because they've been trained, they've been raised that it's not nice, it's not reasonable, it's not polite, what have you. And so what they do is they take comfort in these half measures, like the ridiculous handheld stun guns that you buy at the kiosk at the mall. And sadly, and it offends me, but it's their business and they can do what they want. You go into these gun stores. Our favorite gun store, they do this. And I make fun of them. And I'm going to keep making fun of them until they correct themselves and stop doing stupid crap. But our favorite gun store, they stock handheld, not tasers, not TASER, trademark, but handheld stun gun devices that are made in China. It's crap. It's stupidity. It's nonsense. But yet they still do it. Pepper spray is another good tool. But pepper spray is not for the guy who's smashing in your house to try and rape and murder you, okay? There is a difference. Don't risk your life on half measures. Don't risk your life because you're worried that someone's going to think you're paranoid or unreasonable. Get some training, get some education, and if you don't feel comfortable using a handgun, either decide not to use it or get your fanny out to the range, get your fanny into a training class, and keep training and practicing until you become comfortable with that. And that is all I had to say about that. All right, are we moving on? Drop mic, walk off. Actually, I'm not going to drop the mic and walk off. But we've got a slave state. We actually have 2 separate slave state news reports for you guys. And I have to deal with these. But before I do that, I want to thank our friends at Brownells, brownells.com. Duracoat, gun tattoos. A lot of you, we're starting to put photos up on Instagram and Facebook and all the social media. And we did the Red Skull. I put the Red Skull picture up. And that is a Duracoat gun tattoo. Yes, they have little Duracoat gun tattoos that you can purchase from them, little templates, and put kind of little ninja things on your guns like skulls and spiders and crosshairs and stuff like that. The biohazard symbol, what have you. So, so for those of you that weren't quite digging where that came from, it's from Duracoat. Duracoat Frog Lube. It just works. It's green. It's minty. You can get it from froglube.com, or you can go to brownells.com and order it. And, of course, you can order Duracoat from brownells.com, too. And Velocity Triggers. They are designed for precision. Check those guys out at velocitytriggers.com. If you have a black rifle, they have a trigger for you.
I like to teach you all the rules. I get to see them set in stone. I like it when you chain me to the bed, but then you see me.
Wow. When I put this show in when I put this show in the story notes, strike that, reverse it. When I put this story in the show notes, Jared said, he goes, "Isn't that an old story? Didn't that already happen?" And I thought, well, maybe I better check again. I was sure that the date line was recently. No, it's actually, this story was posted on 9/6/2015, which isn't that long ago. It was this weekend. And it's from the Huffington and Puffington Post, but this story's been shared a myriad times with different people have sent it to us. And I thought, all right, we're going to deal with this. NYPD officers fire 84 shots at suspect. Miss 83 times. "I couldn't believe how long it was going on," said a witness. Yeah.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. An attempted murder suspect who fired at New York police was apprehended only after police engaged him in a gunfight, firing a barrage of bullets. Of the 84 total shots cops fired, 1 struck the suspect.
That's a pretty good ratio.
1 out of 84.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, for Vietnam.
Well, if you think about it, if like 1 in every 100 people is a warrior, then 1 in 84 is actually not that bad.
There you go. So, well, you know what the Delta or the CAG standard is for ammo?
1 in 1?
No, 3.
Oh,
they allow themselves 3 rounds per bad guy.
Oh, per bad guy.
Per bad guy.
Okay.
They expect they budget 3 rounds per bad guy, so they expect to put down. Yeah, but
I guess that's pretty legit.
Legit dudes. And the reason I brought this up is because all of these New England knuckleheads that think that because a police agency has a certain gun or a police agency, we've gotten, believe it or not, I know you guys out there in the dedicated hardcore student of the gun audience are going to be aghast when I say this. I wrote an article about the car, was it the K9? I think it was the K9 pistol or what have you. It doesn't matter. It was a KAHR pistol. And I wrote about it a couple of years ago or something. Anyway. And someone jumped in the comments section and was bad-mouthing the pistol because NYPD no longer allows their officers to carry the car pistols because of the light triggers, because the triggers are too light. And I said to myself at the time, do what? NYPD bans KAHR pistol. And there was actually a statement. Oh, here we go. This is from 2011, New York Daily News. This is how there's so much stupid in this story that you're not going to believe it, but I have to go. NYPD has instructed cops to stop carrying an off-duty gun that has a trigger so light it's been blamed for a series of accidental discharges, the Daily News learned. NYPD spokesman Paul Brown, or Brownie, he puts an N at the end, or an E at the end of his name, says the Car K9 semi-automatic pistol has led to more than a dozen such shootings, none resulting in a fatality, thank goodness. The shootings have occurred over the last few years. NYPD last Monday, and this is a story from December of 2011. NYPD last Monday ordered the revocation to be read aloud to all cops in 10 consecutive precinct roll calls. Do you know the double action only trigger weight of a car is 7.5 pounds? So according to the firearms experts, all of you gun people, you're crapping yourselves right now because you actually know what like trigger pull weights mean. So yeah, the 7.5 pound double action only trigger on the car pistol is just so light that it has led to numerous accidental discharges. And that was the person who, the troll who was crap talking the car online. This story is what that person used as their basis of. I got an idea. How about you get a little bit of training and a little bit of discipline in your body? Whoa, whoa, whoa. You can't do that. You can't force people to train themselves. You can't force them. I mean, that would require effort. What effort? We don't apply effort in America today. That's not something that we're all about. In order to learn to, handle the tool effectively and properly, you would have to apply effort. And effort is not really something that we're all about here in America. What we're all about is shortcuts and half measures, and we're all about blaming the equipment for the failure of the user. Are we not, Jared?
We are, apparently. Because that makes sense.
Gun causes accidental discharge. Apparently there was no human involved in it. The gun with only a 7.5 pound double action trigger caused the accidental discharge.
Well, don't guns actually cause accidental discharges and people cause negligent discharges?
Oh my Lord.
Isn't that how it works?
Oh. The Glock New York trigger. You know what a Glock New York trigger is? A Glock New York trigger is a Glock pistol with an 11 pound plus trigger press. So, essentially,
you just need stronger fingers.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You know what? That 11 pound trigger, you know what it does? It prevents people from accidentally shooting their gun because of your reflexes. Mm-hmm. When you do the when you clamp your fingers when you're nervous,
yeah,
it stops you from doing that.
Oh, really? Is that true?
No.
Or yeah. So actually, the 11 pound, that is actually the minimum. I think most inside gun guru type people have said that your average Glock trigger is a full 12 pounds of press of trigger weight. But here we go in New York, where they've decided that they're going to prevent accidental discharges by making the triggers heavier and harder to pull, thereby forcing officers to put more muscle tension and pressure on the gun. There's so much stupidity in the whole New York trigger thing that I don't even have time to talk about it. But according to the spokesman for NYPD in this situation, according to the spokesman, he fired at them and they fired back. NYPD Commissioner Stephen Davis told the New York Daily News. That's when he was hit. Yeah, 1 out of 84 times. If you and I were to do this, if you were like on the street, well, you would never fire 84 shots because you don't have an 84-shot pistol. But brothers and sisters, if you ever address a bad man and you launch 15, 20, 30, 40 bullets and hit the bad man once, you go ahead and expect a serious lawsuit. Uh-oh. The police recovered a .40 caliber Taurus Millennium pistol from the scene. Oh, man. Another bad...
I gotta get my 40.
More bad news for Taurus.
I thought they meant 40 ounces. They said 40.
Well, see, that's probably what he thought he was getting. Because 27-year-old Gerald Harris is the suspect. He's the suspected man... is suspected of shooting a man and then firing at police. So when someone said to Gerald, "Yo, Gerald, you want a 40?" He thought he was getting like malt liquor, but instead he was getting a Taurus pistol. So they go into great detail about the black. Now they're calling it was a black .40 caliber Taurus Millennium pistol that was recovered at the scene. Why would they go into the detail about what color it was? I thought we weren't supposed to talk about that. I don't know. Maybe the Daily News didn't get the... Because police, the NYPD, 4 officers fired back, letting off at least 52 rounds, all of which missed. A bullet from Harris's gun did manage to hit an unmarked police car. Okay, well, there you go. The suspect took off. Cops fired an additional 16 rounds at the suspect. 1 bullet struck him in the calf. Oh, my God. It was like an accident. It was like 1 round struck him in the calf. You know what that was? That was the favor of God. I think like the archangels were up there like, all right, enough. I'm going to guide this 1 bullet into this dude's calf. I think that's enough of this nonsense. So out of a grand total of 84 shots fired, we got a peripheral hit that accidentally took down Gerald. But you and I, the people that actually carry guns on a daily basis, the people that do it lawfully, what are we told constantly by the experts and by the reasonable people and so forth? What are we told about, well, you can't have those kind of guns. Only the police can have them. Because the police are so well trained and experts in the handling of firearms that only they can be trusted. Brothers and sisters, I told you this before. I'm going to go ahead and tell you this again. I was a cop for 17 years. I knew a lot of cops. I spent a lot of time in police training. And here's the dealio. 5%, and I'm being generous, of all police officers actually go out and train on their own with their guns and practice on their own with their guns. All of the rest of them do it. The only time they go to the range and shoot their guns is when the department tells them that they have to. When they provide them with the ammo, when they're on overtime or training time or whatever. That is the only time that probably, all right, I'll give you 90 to 95% of all police officers ever go to the range. That is it. And sadly, the ones that, the cops that go out on their own to practice, that actually go and buy ammunition out of their own pocket and to practice, those guys are made fun of. Like, our Tackleberry over there wants to go to the range. Oh, hey, Rambo, did you just go to the range again, Rambo? Oh, what do you think you're going to do? Yeah, that's real.
Is there a middle ground? Or is it don't go to the range at all, or just always like you? And
well, I mean,
you guys are trainers.
I worked with a bunch of guys that I worked with probably 3 guys in my Ohio career that actually would go to the range on their own, and we would practice. Now, and you're like, well, Paul, what's the answer? What's the solution? I don't know. But here's what I'm going to say this. When someone tells you that citizens that they can't be trusted, well, we've got a 10-round magazine capacity limit in this state, in this city, in this whatever. And you say, well, does that apply to police officers? Oh, no, none of that applies to police officers. Oh. Police officers are expertly trained in firearms, and they can handle more rounds and blah, blah, blah. Maybe NYPD, Jared, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. Maybe, just maybe, the NYPD should be restricted. Maybe they need to do law enforcement restricted magazines for NYPD to keep them from indiscriminately spraying bullets all over the landscape. Could that be? Let me tell you what. Back in the olden days of the 6-shot 357 Magnum revolvers, cops were good. Cops were good at shooting because they knew, I'm starting with 6. I can't just spray bullets all over the landscape and hope that one accidentally hits this dude.
Well, if you can't do it with 6, then you probably can't get the job done at all. So,
and well, here's the in the gun culture, they're always talking about one-shot stops, and most of that is a bunch of nonsense and mythology, because the whole the one-shot stop premise is a way of trying to convince people that if you just buy the right caliber, the right bullet design, that you can expect a one-shot stop because you purchased X caliber in X bullet design. It's the search for the magic bullet. There is no magic bullet. Magic bullets don't exist. But we, as a gun culture, are constantly searching for magic bullets. Now, are there some projectiles that do a better job than others? Yes, obviously there are. But trying to substitute training and practice and skill for equipment purchases is bullcrap, and that's what we do as a gun culture. We always try to buy our way around dedicated practice and training, which is exactly the stupid crap that NYPD does with these 12-pound triggers. Oh, we can prevent negligent discharges by making the cops all have super heavy triggers. Well, if 12's good, why not 15? Why not 18? Hell, let's make it 20. Let's make it so that you have to put 2 fingers in the trigger well to pull it, or the trigger guard to pull the trigger. If that's
just
good.
Make a bigger trigger.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what?
A hand trigger.
We could make the triggers like on paintball guns.
Yeah, like you actually have to put 2 fingers on it, boom, to get it to go off, because that's safer. No, folks, I'm getting back to the 357 Magnum thing. You know what we had back in the 60s and 70s and even the 80s? You know who cops were? Cops were veterans. Cops were Marines. Cops were soldiers. Cops were men. Cops were like serious meat-eating men. And they knew how to handle their guns. They knew how to shoot them. They knew that it was their job, that they were supposed to do that. And back when cops were carrying 357 Magnum Smith & Wessons, they were stopping guys with 1 and 2 shots. Yeah, they were. And do you know why? Because they were serious about their craft. And then the 90s came along, and the 2000s, and now. And what did they start doing? During the Clinton era, and even before to a certain extent, but really hardcore during the early 90s on through the 2000s, they started instituting the EEOC and the, race-based hiring, I guess I will say. Race-based, gender-based, sex-based, whatever you want to call it, rather than saying, hey, let's look out across the field of applicants and let's hire the most qualified, hardcore people we can find. That no, we're not going to do that. We're first going to, and this is a Democrat thing, this is a liberal puke-faced scumbag thing, first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the applicant and judge them by the color of their skin. Then we're going to look between their legs and determine whether or not they have a hoo-hoo dilly or a cha-cha. And then based upon that, we will give them extra hiring points. So if someone has a dark skin complexion and they have a cha-cha instead of a hoo-hoo dilly, we're going to give them extra bonus hiring points. And you say, well, why would you do that? You don't even know if that person's qualified to be a police officer or whether they have the aptitude to be a police officer. Oh, it doesn't matter.
But it's fair.
It's fair. It's fairness.
It's actually not fair at all.
And so what we have today, and being a cop today sucks. I wouldn't be a cop today. So what you've got is you have a bunch of what I like to call equal opportunity hires. You have essentially people that couldn't get hired at the post office, and so they got hired on police departments. Look across every major metropolitan area. New York, Baltimore, Chicago, you name it. The ranks are filled with pensioners. People are there that are there because they want to get a good government job with good benefits. Not because they're serious about their craft, not because they want to. And I know it's not a blanket statement, so don't write me. And I know most of you won't anyway. But folks, this NYPD thing, all that shows is that the NYPD and their firearms unit are, the NYPD firearms unit back in the 60s and 70s, I knew guys, or I knew of guys, and I actually was able to meet some guys in older dudes when I first became a gun writer that were involved in the firearms training unit at NYPD. And they used to be hardcore. They used to be serious guys. And they're not anymore. Because forcing people to apply effort, we can't do that. I'm not going to say who or where, but I am fully aware of a reduction in the handgun training standards and the qualification standards because the recruits can't seem to pass the class. So here's what we'll do. We'll adjust the target standard. We'll adjust the scoring standard so that more people can pass. It's kind of like, I'll give you one, and Navy guys, you're going to hate this. When I started working for the military as a contractor, military contractor, the rifle scoring target had a bullseye, and there was a 2-ring, a 3-ring, a 4-ring, and a 5, which was the bullseye. So 5 was the best you could get, then a 4, then a 3, then a 2. And then a miss, right? And if you got outside the 2-ring, it was a miss. Jared, did I tell you about when they changed the target?
Yeah, you did.
They eliminated the 2-ring.
Yeah, because it was,
and they made that whole entire area
a
3-ring.
Yeah.
And so they said, they're like, oh man. They said
that is what you should do. You should eliminate the low and make it easier for people to score high.
Yeah, so they're like, oh, our scores across the board, our scores are all going up. And like, yeah, because you made the target bigger. How does making the target bigger help people increase their ability to do it right? It's insanity. But whatever, I don't know anything. I'm just a loudmouth on the radio. Like, ugh. All right, Slave State News. Moving on. What do we just have?
I just stuck an updated thing in there from NBC Chicago so we can use both of the things.
Well, the first story is from Breitbart.com, and this is the source that our liberal listeners hate. And if we get our source material from Breitbart.com, they don't consider it to be real news.
Yeah.
These are the same people that get their news from Comedy Central.
You know what? I wish that I would have pulled up remember when you talked about the people, the news media polling holiday weekends and using them for this? Are you going to talk about that? I wish.
Ahead.
Well, I wish that I would have pulled I don't know what episode that was from. I wish I could pull that and play it right now.
Oh yeah,
because
exactly.
You talked about this like.
Oh yeah, that's exactly.
I don't even know how long ago.
Oh, they pull they always use holiday weekends because
they're 3 days.
They call it a weekend, but they tabulate the shootings and the crimes and so
when
forth.
It really
over,
happens
over
every day.
3 days.
Yeah, it really happens every weekend. If you include every weekend a 3-day weekend.
Yeah, it's not like the criminals like, hey man, you just chill out because we got Labor Day coming up. Don't go whack anybody. Just wait. We got Memorial Day coming up.
And if I get one more tag on Facebook and a picture of a dead kid, I'm going to come through this microphone and I will punch you in your face.
People are doing that to you,
Yes.
too? Did you see what Mookie just said? He said, if you send me one more picture of a dead kid, I'm unfriending you. I don't care who you are.
Oh, no.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah. I was, because we tagged Mookie in the current the radio show.
Yeah.
And so, but anyway. So, here we go. Chicago Labor Day violence. 6 killed, 27 wounded. Dead toddler's head found floating in lagoon. Wow.
Yeah.
And the picture that they use is police in riot gear, and there's an African-American woman with a baton over her head wearing a riot helmet getting ready to come down and whack somebody. But they don't show the person that is about to be whacked. Yeah, probably just a stock picture. They probably just went in and they typed in Chicago PD. Yeah, so as Sunday drew to a close in Chicago, the Labor Day weekend so far had a high toll of dead and wounded, with 6 killed and 27 wounded between Friday and Saturday. The murders came fast on Friday, with 3 killed between 8 p.m. and midnight on the first day of the Labor Day weekend. Including the 3 killed were 13 shootings in the Windy City on a hot night of September 4th. By comparison, Saturday, another steamy day, seemed mild with only 9 shootings and no deaths. However, Saturday also saw the discovery of a toddler's head and other body parts floating in the lagoon at Garfield Park, bringing to the day at least 1 death thus far of an undetermined cause. By Sunday, but Sunday came roaring back, though, with 3 more killed and another 8 shot. This year's toll of violence was worse than 2013, where 25 were shot and 8 killed, or the year's total of violence was worse than 13. Okay. Arguably worse than 2014, 36 wounded, yada, yada, yada. Granted, there's still 1 more day. Oh, they tabulated that on Sunday. So let's go ahead and go to NBC Chicago. NBCChicago.com/news/local/Chicago Labor Day. Well, what have we got, NBC News Channel 5? 8 dead, 46 injured. They're just in shootings over the long Labor Day weekend. Among the injured, a 15-year-old boy in critical condition who was shot in the back of the neck in the Washington Park neighborhood. And let me guess, Gary the Enforcer and Little Rami are going to run to the microphones and call for more gun control. 8 people are dead and 46 others wounded in shootings across Chicago during the violent Labor Day weekend. Now, Jared, I'm going to assume, based upon the media template in the United States of America, that all of the shot, dead, and wounded people were innocent, unarmed black men who were all shot dead by white racist cops. Is that's what we have here? I mean, that is what I've been told day in and day out by the media, that the only time a young black man dies is when they are unarmed and a white racist cop, or it could be what do they call the guys in Baltimore? Three African American black officers are charged with the murder of or the wrongful death or whatever of Freddie Gray. No, they charged him with murder, didn't they? Yeah, they charged him with murder. And they're like, what did they say they were? They I'm trying to think of the verbiage. It's kind of like when they called George Zimmerman, who's Hispanic, they called him white Hispanic. What? Yeah. He was a white Hispanic.
That's the thing, is that the only time that race is pointed out in the media is when it is white on black. Any other time they conveniently leave out the race. The race should always be included, because that is a description
of the gun in the black gun in New York.
Isn't that how you describe people? Would you not describe somebody by being white or
they're just
being black?
A person of interest with dark complexion, average height, average weight,
It's like, oh, that's everybody that's
Average
around me
color.
right now. I need to put my back to a wall.
So, I mean, if you guys want to, you can jump in here and you can read the story in the show notes. Woman 20 shot to death in Woodland Park. 1 dead, 1 injured shooting outside of a West Loop nightclub. Let's see. Wednesday marked Chicago's deadliest in 12 years. Family charged with fatal shooting of 11-year-old. Oh, family member charged with fatal shooting of an 11-year-old. Here we go. Chicago Lagoon search resumes after toddler's remains found. And this is all obviously due to the fact that, A, they don't have enough gun control in Chicago, and B, all cops are racist. I mean, that's got to be what it is. There's a complete death toll here. 59-year-old man shot in the back. 20-year-old man, 3 shot, 17, 19, 21. 23, 29, 32, and 39. 19-year-old woman shot. 15-year-old boy shot. 18-year-old boy shot. This is all in Chicago. The glittering jewel, this is where we get people like the communist community organizer Barry Soetoro. And Barry Soetoro rewarded his minion, little Rami Emanuel. They anointed him with the mayorship. You've got Gary the Enforcer, who, I'm sorry, if Gary was not a cop, he would be a union thug, and he would be breaking windows and whacking people with aluminum bats. You got Gary the Enforcer, every single time this happens, jumps in front of a television camera, or he goes on a local radio show to blame what? Not the criminals, not the vermin, not the socialist welfare state, and the entitlement state that Chicago is. Oh, no, no, no. It's you lawful gun owners who just won't accept more reasonable restrictions on your liberties. If you would just be willing to accept more universal gun control, more universal background checks, if only you would do that, the killing in Chicago would end. Do you believe that? For 1 second? You're supposed to believe that. You're supposed to feel bad. Remember that whole thing about ignorance, distraction, and guilt?
We need to put that article up.
I don't know what to tell you. How many more times you want me to do that?
What?
We did 3 separate videos. Ignorance,
I
distraction,
know, but we
and
need to
guilt.
put one article with the 3 videos in it, so it's all in one place.
Okay.
That'll be coming on the blog in the near
Okay.
future, won't it?
All right.
Yes.
The,
Okay, cool.
the IDG filter. Every time you see a story, run it through the IDG filter. What is that story designed to do? Is it designed to keep you ignorant, designed to distract you, or is it designed to make you feel guilty so that you will give up more of your liberty? If only you would surrender just a little bit more of your liberty, everything would be wonderful. Or would it be wonderful? No, I don't think it would. It's that Chicago is the classic definition of insanity. These things keep happening, and they keep applying the same supposed fixes. I don't even have to read. I don't even have to look. And Little Rami and Gary the Enforcer, and then that false prophet up there who calls himself a friar or a monsignor or whatever that guy is. They basically taken turns in the propaganda game because this happens so often that they kind of have a little tag team thing going. You know, one weekend they'll send Gary out to call for more gun control, and then the next weekend they'll send Little Rami out, and he'll say how upset he is and how terrible it is and how they're going to spend more government money, which is citizens' money, which is taxpayer money. They're going to come up with new programs to figure out why this is going on, because apparently they can't figure it out. Or if Little Rami and Gary are tired or they have golf games or whatever, they'll send the Monsignor false prophet, whatever his name is. I really don't give a crap. They'll send him out to call for more gun control and reasonable restrictions and blah, 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 blah. I'm quite frankly amazed that these people still have the cojones and the gall to go out in public and to do this, to go out and actually spread their nonsense. It does amaze me because it's so on the face easy to debunk. But they have, I guess they're not speaking to you or I. They're speaking to the great unwashed, ignorant masses. They're speaking to their voter base. You know, that's all they're doing. They have a bunch of tax slaves up there, a bunch of welfare slaves that keep them in power. So they're just going to go out and they're going to pander to those people. And you're never going to get any honest questions from the media. Don't expect CNN, NBC. Don't expect them at a press conference to raise their hand and say, "Excuse me, Gary, or do you prefer enforcer? What do you prefer? I don't care." Haven't we been playing this gun control game for 40, 50 years now, and we've seen no results, no positive results, but yet you want more of the same? Is that Gary? Yeah. Bob, NBC News. Isn't murder illegal within the city limits of Chicago? Is murder illegal in Illinois? Well, of course murder's illegal. Then why do they have people? Why are people killing other people? But isn't that the law? Maybe what they need to do, Jared, is like they did in New Orleans. I got it. It's just epiphany. They need to get everyone in Chicago PD together, and they need to go door to door reminding people that gun crimes are bad. They need to print up flyers and knock on people's doors like they did in New Orleans and say, I just want to make sure that you know that you can't carry a gun in a school zone. Oh, thanks, officer. I was not aware of that until now. Maybe people in Chicago aren't aware that murder is illegal. They need to have a door-to-door campaign where they send Chicago PD officers out and they do the officer-friendly, and they hand out flyers to remind people that murder is illegal. Because apparently they aren't aware of that. Or we could just hold human beings responsible for their behavior. No, you can't do that.
That's too much to ask.
No, human beings can't be held responsible for their behavior. It's the guns that are causing the negligent discharges. It's the guns that are causing crime. It's you sitting out there, you on your way to work, you at work, you that are paying taxes. It's your fault there's so much violence in Chicago. Because all the crimes are being committed by tax-paying people with full-time jobs, right?
Yep.
And racist cops. So if we could just get rid of all of the racist cops in Chicago, there would be no more killing. Oh, what did we just say yesterday on the radio with Mookie? Who's responsible for killing more Muslims in the world than anyone else? That would be Muslims. Who's responsible for killing more young black men in Chicago than anyone else?
Guns.
That's right, guns. The guns are bad. The guns are bad. Are you about done? You thinking we're done?
Yeah. I'm tired of
I think it's about
bad news.
Well, it has to be said because we are going to, mark my words, we will be treated, or the people of Illinois will be treated to a press conference where they go out and they talk about that this wouldn't happen if we just had more reasonable gun control. If we had more
restrictions. Well, that's the thing. There is no reasonable gun control. So.
Yeah, well, there's never enough for them. You know that. That wouldn't have happened. And when that happens, people say, oh, whoa, Gary. Jared, I hope and pray that one day in America that people that went to professional journalism school will also find their collective testicles and have the guts to raise their hands and ask these liberal, puke-faced, scumbag statists questions like, isn't murder illegal? How passing more laws going to stop vermin and criminals and scumbags? Shouldn't we start holding people responsible for their behavior and punishing them when they do bad things? Oh, I know. That's archaic. That's draconian. That's medieval. You can't do that. This is the Great Enlightened Era. Yes, the Great Enlightened Era that we currently are living in. All right, ladies and gentlemen and children of all ages, thank you for joining us here at Student of the Gun Radio. We truly appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who's in the Student of the Gun grad program on Facebook, all the dedicated hardcore folks. You guys are having more fun than a human being should be allowed to have.
Yeah, it's entertaining to me.
You know you are. Thank you to everybody who went over to gundistrict.com and gave us a thumbs up or a star or a vote or a friend or a like or whatever. Keep doing it. We're almost to, we're going to surpass 500 this week. It's going to happen. What?
For those of you, I hope you guys enjoyed the fitness talk today. And since it was short and sweet, if you guys have any specific questions about you personally or your fitness plan, or if you have questions about fitness, shoot me an email, ptjarrad@gmail.com.
Yeah, and if you just want to tell Jared that you like fitness, let him know. All right, kids. Remember, beginner once, student for life.